Yeah, and let's have a look back at our theme of the event, human-oriented hospitality. And as humans, we have to care about our planet and take actions. And the past years, sustainability have become a big topic and a very important topic for us and for hospitality, now more than ever. And this brings us to our last speaker of today, Ms. Lauren Dalmatoff, representing One Tree Planted organization. She will talk about human-centric sustainability within the hospitality industry. Good morning, Miss Lauren. How are you over in California?
Hi, good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for having me here today. This is super exciting.
It's a pleasure, man.
Cool. So I'll go ahead and share here. And then we should be good there on the slides. So yeah, hi everyone. I'm super excited to tell you a little bit about One Tree Planted, the work that we do, and kind of how that relates to sustainability within hospitality and just in your lives overall. So I am our school program manager. I work with students of all ages on all sorts of different projects, anywhere from learning about trees, planting trees, learning about sustainability, learning about all sorts of topics related to that. And it's a super fun job and I love it a lot. So I'm super happy to be here and share a little bit with you guys. Let's see here. There we go. So One Tree Planted is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we plant trees all over the world. It's a very simple mission, but it's a lot of really hard work and very rewarding work. We plant all over the world now, which is super awesome and exciting to see. And all of that is due to extremely amazing partnerships that are so foundational and important. We work with WRI, the US Forest Service, CAL FIRE, and tons of other amazing organizations, as well as partners on the ground. That's how we're able to get all of our planting done. We partner with local organizations on the ground that really know the community the best and are able to, do all of the amazing, super great work that we need. Um, and I always like to mention how important these partnerships are because I can imagine hospitality is the same way. We're all in it together. We all have the same goal of, our goal is to get as many trees planted as possible. And if you're working in hospitality, I would imagine your goal is to provide a really great experience for guests and make sure they feel safe and comfortable. And at the end of the day, like we really are all working together towards these same goals. So it's super great to be able to partner with all sorts of different organizations and just kind of put all our resources in and work together to make awesome things happen. So like I mentioned, we plant trees all around the world, which is a huge, awesome endeavor. Last year alone, we planted over 10 million trees. This year, we're hoping 25 million, maybe a little bit more. We're not so sure yet, but it's super exciting to see how quickly we're growing and expanding and just really adding new locations to the map. When I started, we were mostly in North America, South America, and Africa, and now we've expanded to so many new places, planting in Europe and Australia, and really just seeing where there's need and then responding to that and making sure that we're finding really great partners on the ground so that we can plant trees and have this awesome network all over the world. And when we plant trees, we always like to focus on the 6 pillars of reforestation. And I thought this would be important to include just because when we're talking about incorporating sustainability in people's lives, it's really important to make sure we give them tangible things that they can understand and really break it down in a way that they can walk away feeling like they know what they're talking about, that they connect to it and they resonate with it in a way. So we like to use the 6 pillars as a way to explain why planting trees is important, why we should even care about that. So you can see them there: air, water, biodiversity, social impact, health, and climate. And these are super cool because our projects relate to each of these in slightly different ways. So for example, we might have a project in the Amazon rainforest that really, really emphasizes biodiversity, because we know that's a place where a lot of the world's biodiversity is. So when we use a project there, we're able to share that story and relate that to donors and people's lives, and people can really see that and think, oh, I want to make an impact on biodiversity. We have a perfect project for them to do so. Whereas we have other projects that maybe, planting mangrove trees are really important for clearing out water systems and providing habitat within water. So that one could hit water. If we're planting trees in an urban reforestation area, that one's really cool for air, especially in a city. And health, planting trees in an urban environment around a city or even at a hotel or something like that can really be important for human health. It can provide shade, which is super important, especially maybe if you're planting at a school, as well as help reduce stress and anxiety and provide people with a comfort feeling like they have nature around them. And I think that's also very important within hospitality, making sure that people are comfortable. So planting trees can be a really great way to do that. And then, we have social impact. We have projects in Rwanda that are specifically helping communities of women start nurseries and provide financial income so that they can feed their families, and planting agroforestry so that they can harvest fruit and really create this sustainable social ecosystem, which is super cool and exciting. And then, of course, we all know about climate. Trees helping to reduce greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide is very important, and a really big one when we're talking about sustainable development goals and all of these other things that are so top of mind right now. Trees are a really great way to address climate action. So I wanted to share, this is a sustainable travel guide that we have that we share with a lot of our community when they ask. So I just wanted to go through some ideas of things that I think could be helpful, either, to offer to guests, to think about yourself, just kind of things related to travel and hospitality that I think would be good ideas. So one would be looking at your transportation. Is there a way that you can get around even while you're traveling, other than just, always hopping in an Uber? I know I do that a lot. When you could probably bike or walk, sometimes when you don't know where you are, you just want to hop in an Uber. But encouraging guests to take a walk or maybe rent a bike or something can be a great way to reduce your climate impact and also get to see a new area more, which is pretty exciting. Having guests choose accommodations wisely. So choosing places that are green certified or take specific actions to be more sustainable can be very appealing to a lot of guests. So on both sides, making sure that there's some attention to that. Volunteer tourism. So we want to make sure that there are opportunities for people when they're coming somewhere to volunteer or get out and make an impact in that local community. We offer tree planting events all over the world. So that's one example, but there are all sorts of, it could be a beach cleanup, it could be any sort of restoration work, it could be helping to build trails if someone's staying in like a mountain town. There's all sorts of ways that people can volunteer, and it's a great way to meet people from the community and kind of get a feel for the place that you're at while also making a really good impact. So volunteering while you're traveling, I think, is such a great idea and such a great way to spend your time. Dining locally, of course, finding restaurants that maybe source their food locally or are just small local businesses can make a really big impact. Making sure that there are opportunities for guests to give feedback, and if you are staying somewhere that is super eco-friendly, leave a review or tell someone and help spread that word so that people can find these options more easily. And then donating to sustainable travel, if you're able to, organizations that work directly with local communities and pay attention to making an environmental and social impact are really important, either staying there or, if you're able to, choosing them for your donations. Go green or go home. It's important to try and follow as many of your own sustainability rules as you can. So within that, I think it's really interesting that if I think about any time I've traveled, you're kind of put in this interesting position where you don't necessarily have access to all of the decisions you would typically make. So as an individual, there are things I can do to make sure that I can still live by my same sustainability rules. But I think there are also things that the hospitality industry can do to make those choices easier. So, when your choices are limited, sometimes you're going to have to choose things that kind of aren't the most sustainable, or maybe don't go necessarily with what you would like to choose, but your options are limited. You're traveling. I know I've been in that situation lots of times. It's late, there are no other options. You just kind of have to do what you can, but making sure that those options are provided can be really a really good way to help encourage people to take those choices. It's the I've heard it described for like elementary school salad bars as well. It's kind of a cool analogy. They put all of the vegetables first because when you have an empty plate and you're walking through, you're more likely to fill your plate up with vegetables and then take more of the stuff at the end. Whereas if they reversed it, they've tried it, kids will fill up on everything else and then get to the end and they don't take a single vegetable. So providing those sustainable options first and foremost, so it's top of mind, easy to do, feels really natural, can be really important. Number 8, if you are going to be traveling, you can try visiting smaller, more sustainable communities, making sure that you're doing that very respectfully and just being aware of your choices. There's a time and place for, I think, every type of vacation or every type of travel or journey. But making sure that you are conscious of those decisions. And then planting trees, of course. If you don't have time to plant a tree, you can make donations in honor of your travel. You can plant trees to kind of combat that carbon that you might be producing by flying or traveling somewhere. But like I said before, there are lots of ways to volunteer and plant trees as well. So that could be a really great way to spend your time when you are traveling. And that's all I have for ideas for that right now. Thank you guys so much for listening to me. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have about One Tree Planted, about sustainability, about anything at all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dalmatoff, for reminding us that sustainability is everyone's responsibility. Whilst we wait for the chat room to be filled up with questions for you, we have one question for you, and Emma will ask a question.
What would you say was the biggest achievement for One Tree Planted so far?
Ooh. Yeah, biggest achievement overall.
Sorry?
Like the biggest achievement overall?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think just expanding to new locations has been a really big achievement for us. It's something that we've been working towards for a long time. Of course, growing and expanding means bringing more people on the team, and we have an amazing team. So it's super cool to see new people jumping in and just adding more locations so we can keep making an impact in lots of different places.
Okay.
That sounds good. Let's see if we have some questions in the chat. What do you think hotels can do internally today to head down the road of sustainability?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I think it depends on what type of sustainability they want to pursue. I think there are a lot of little ways that can add up a lot. So things like offering guests more eco-friendly options is really good. I love the offer that a lot of hotels have these days to not have their towels washed every day. Stuff like that can make a really big impact. And a lot of people are happy to make those decisions. Looking at ways that you can maybe reduce energy costs, things like that. I think about like, I don't know. It just kind of depends on where you are and what your goals are exactly. I think incorporating more sustainable things from the start can be really good. So looking at where you're sourcing your materials, where you're getting all of your products from, what kind of cleaning products you're using, stuff like that. And then also stuff you can do on the back end, like making donations or partnering with someone like One Tree Planted to plant trees for each guest that arrives, or any little thing like that, those can all make a really big impact.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your answers. If there are any other questions, I'm sure they will be in the chat room and you can address them there. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you, same to you.